MLB goes even higher tech and changes in the Washington booth.
Welcome to the Sports Media Beat with your host, Dan Lovallo.
Hi, everybody. Let's start with Major League Baseball as we put this podcast together on July 21st, 2 days before the opening of the truncated Major League Baseball season for 2020. And Major League Baseball announced on July 20th that they are going to really go even more high-tech than what they're doing now. They've set up this massive studio across the street from Radio City Music Hall in New York. And television broadcasts this year will feature StatCast 3D. You think you had stats before. Well, they're going to be featuring StatCast 3D, which includes this superimposition, I guess, of what a home run might be in another ballpark. So let's say you hit a home run at Fenway Park, and you want to know, well, would that have been a home run in Yankee Stadium? Well, with StatCast 3D, they're going to superimpose Yankee Stadium over Fenway Park, and you'll be able to watch on your television screen if it was going to be a home run at Yankee Stadium. Or, pick your ballpark. I'm just using Yanks and Red Sox for that. But they've got a lot of things planned in the telecast this year, and also in an effort to appeal to the younger demographic, they are going to have a lot of interactive activity as you watch a game. For example, as the Boston Globe writes in its Tuesday editions, in an effort to at least reach, if not grow, a younger fan base, MLB will focus on video engagement, gaming, and augmented reality on Snapchat. So baseball trying to reach out to the younger demo, very sensitive to the fact that it is losing to the younger audience. In fact, I think they got upset when Alex Rodriguez was quoted somewhere as saying that he doesn't even list baseball among the top two as far as the most popular sports in the country today. He lists behind the NFL and the NBA, and A-Rod and Jennifer Lopez are trying to buy the New York Mets. Apparently that got some people upset, but, A-Rod may have a point as far as what he is saying. But the bottom line is, as the season begins on July 23rd on ESPN with a game between the New York Yankees and the Washington Nationals, the defending world champion Washington Nationals, you are going to see a more interactive presentation. And if you thought you had stats before, well, maybe you haven't seen anything yet. Now, some good news for baseball. The ratings for their summer camp, some of these games that they have carried, and I've watched the Yankees and Mets a couple of times over the weekend. The ratings have actually been pretty good. Sunday's White Sox-Cubs MLB summer camp game averaged a .31 rating and 525,000 viewers on ESPN. That's up 30% in ratings and 62% in viewership from the network's previous MLB window, a weekday afternoon Red Sox-Braves spring training game in March. So people apparently are hungry for baseball. By the way, the game was not ESPN's most watched program of the day, that Cubs-White Sox game. It trailed the Formula One Hungarian Grand Prix Sunday morning, which got a .42 rating and drew 703,000 viewers. But some good news as far as Major League Baseball is concerned. I don't know if you've been following what's going on with the Washington NFL team, but the Washington Post did a huge expose about alleged sexual harassment among female employees on the Redskins, and that has led to the resignation of several Redskin employees, including longtime play-by-play broadcaster Larry Michael. Well, now NBC Sports in Washington is reporting that anchor Julie Donaldson is set to become the lead radio voice for Washington's NFL team, and they have not picked a new nickname yet. I guess they're waiting, but here is the announcement. NBC Sports Washington anchor and reporter Julie Donaldson is expected to be hired by the Washington football team to lead its radio broadcast crew. Donaldson will lead the radio broadcast team, serve in other on-air roles, and hold a senior-level position in the organization. She will be the first woman to be a regular member of an NFL team's radio broadcast booth, according to Westwood One. Congratulations to Julie Donaldson, making news today. Bob Costas, he's in the broadcasters wing of the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he still does a lot of work on the MLB network. Well, now he's going to join CNN. He will join CNN as a contributor. The network announced on Monday he will serve as a commentator on sports-related issues, in particular the industry's response to pandemic-related challenges. And boy, they have challenges, including how they're going to cover football, if they're going to play football this year. But he will join CNN, will Bob Costas. By the way, the NFL, according to several reports, has reached out and stated that they are willing to negotiate with the NFL Players Association about not playing the preseason. And that's big news. And it's big news because there are a lot of these teams that get additional revenue from the exhibition games and also television coverage. A lot of these stations carry preseason games, your local outlet in addition to the networks. But now there is, I would say, more than an even chance, it's just a guess on my part, but more than an even chance that you are going to not see NFL preseason games, all in an effort to play the regular season. And maybe you saw the story, the governor of New Jersey, Phil Murphy, announcing that they will not allow fans into Met Stadium in New York for Giants games or Jets games. So right now, the NFL season looks as if they're going to play, but they may follow baseball's model, not only in New Jersey, metropolitan New York, so to speak, but elsewhere. No fans in the stands for the games. But that's the latest as far as football is concerned. By the way, back to the pandemic. We mentioned in our previous Sports Media Beat podcast, Tim McCarver. This is age-related. He's 77 years old, will not be broadcasting St. Louis Cardinals games this year. He's very concerned. He lives in Florida about being exposed to COVID-19 by flying into St. Louis. Well, he's not the only broadcaster. In fact, the Baltimore Orioles television crew, made up of Gary Thorne, who's 72 years of age, and Hall of Fame pitcher Jim Palmer, who is 74 years of age, they have announced they will not be broadcasting Baltimore Orioles games on TV this year, even though many of these broadcasters, by the way, aren't even going to the ballpark to broadcast the games. They're going to television studios to broadcast games, but they don't want to be exposed. You can't blame them to the virus. So in this case, add Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer to the list of broadcasters who will not be broadcasting games this year. TV games will be called by Scott Garceau, Kevin Brown, and Jeff Arnold. Former Orioles Ben McDonald and Mike Bordick will provide color commentary. And on the radio, the games will feature Arnold, Melanie Newman, and Brett Hollander. Incidentally, the voice of the Yankees, John Sterling, the longtime Yankees radio voice, 82 years of age, he will broadcast Yankees games again this year. In fact, I heard John do a game the other night on the radio, the Sunday night game between the Yankees and the Mets. That was an exhibition game. ESPN is all out as far as this baseball season is concerned, and they will begin. They've already carried some summer games, so to speak, but they are going to have big coverage on Thursday night, the Yankees-Nationals game. They'll have that game, and they're going to have the Dodgers and the Giants after that game. Now, as announced in March, Chipper Jones has joined ESPN as a game analyst. He'll call 2 Atlanta Braves New York Mets games this year, the season opening game with John Boog Sciambi, including the first half of ESPN's special Sunday Night Baseball doubleheader on July 26th at 7 p.m. Also, Jessica Mendoza joins Carl Ravitch and Tim Kurkjian on opening day, July 24th, to call the game between the Los Angeles Angels and the Oakland Athletics. Ravitch, Perez, and Kurkjian will call the second half of the opening night doubleheader on Thursday, the Dodgers-Giants. That's the game on Thursday night, preceded by the Yankees and the Nationals. And that broadcast will feature, of course, the main crew for ESPN, and that's Matt Vanskerzian and Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod, incidentally, because he and Jennifer Lopez are in the running to buy the New York Mets. Well, A-Rod will not be broadcasting any ESPN games when the Mets are on the telecast. By the way, ESPN reporting it will also nationally broadcast 2 MLB season opening games, Yankees, Washington, with Boog Sciambi and Chris Singleton at the mic. And then they'll broadcast the Braves and Mets game on July 26th, Sunday Night Baseball, with Singleton joining Mark Kastecher on the broadcast. So baseball getting its coverage. Let's see if we can sneak in some ratings here. NASCAR and some other information. Wednesday's NASCAR All-Star race. This was last Wednesday's race, so that would be what? What was last Wednesday? July 15th. Wednesday's NASCAR All-Star race averaged 2.08 million viewers on FS1, smallest audience for the event since at least 2003. Viewership fell 15% from last year, which was 2.44 million, and 16% from 2018, which was 2.47 million. The latest UFC on ESPN main event averaged 536,000 viewers last Wednesday night, July 15th, and ESPN averaged 311,000 viewers for its first 5 matches of the MLS Is Back tournament. That's Major League Soccer. So that's some of what's going on in the sports media world. And as always, thanks for listening to the Sports Media Beat. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We are in the Apple Podcast directory. We're also in the Google Podcast directory. You name your favorite podcast directory, and we are there. And if you would like to email me, you can email me, dan@danlovallo.com. And be sure to visit my website, sportsmediabeat.com. But as always, thanks for listening to the podcast.